The next thing to talk about is being a vegetarian, and I get this time and time again. I sit down with someone in the office and I say, tell me about your nutrition, tell me about how you eat. Their answer, don't worry doc, I'm a vegetarian, I'm healthy. Hold on a second. Being vegetarian does not equal being healthy. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Eating a plant-based, vegetable-first nutrition is definitely a healthy way to be. But vegetarian doesn't always equal plant-based. And here's why. Big bowl of spaghetti with tomato sauce, vegetarian. Big loaf of bread. Pizza without the cheese, or even with the cheese, can be vegetarian. Those are not always healthy. There are other reasons people choose to be vegetarian or vegan, whether it has to do with animal concerns, environmental concerns, and those are all perfectly legitimate and worthy of a whole nother discussion. But when it comes to our health, vegetarian does not equal healthy. The other important concept about eating as a vegetarian is all the fake processed foods that they try and pass off as healthy. Soy products that are processed as seitan and different types of tofu and fake bacon and tofurkey, there's nothing healthy about that. There's nothing plant-based about that. It's a different version of a processed food. So why would we think that's all of a sudden healthy just because it's vegetarian? So again, we need to reframe our mindset and realize that it's not real food. Another concern with being vegan or vegetarian is your calcium, your vitamin B, and your protein intake. It's not to say that you can't get those, but it becomes more challenging. So if you can eat purely vegetarian, vegetable-based, real foods, and make sure you're getting adequate level of proteins and all your essential vitamins, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, and that is a healthy way to eat. The problem is the majority of vegans and vegetarians don't eat that way, and that's what I want us to be aware of. If you pay attention to nutrition, you've obviously heard about gluten, whether it's from the superstars and the movie stars going gluten-free or the athletes going gluten-free. It seems like everybody wants to go gluten-free. Well, here's a quick primer on gluten. Gluten is a protein found in wheat, and some people's bodies can react violently to gluten. There's an actual medical disease called celiac disease, or gluten-sensitive enteropathy. And in that sense, your body is sort of attacking your intestines when you eat gluten. And it's a very challenging condition to have, with an easy solution though. By avoiding gluten, your body no longer has this reaction. But that's a small percentage of the population. The next level is gluten sensitivity, which is a bigger portion of the population and much harder to define. But it's also much more practical. And here's the simple solution. If you eat gluten and you feel worse, you feel more tired, you feel more bloated, you have more digestive issues, then you should probably avoid it. If you feel fine eating gluten, then there might not be any reason to avoid it. But another important concept is our bodies don't need gluten. Where's gluten? It's in bread. That's the number one thing. It's in cereals. It's in any wheat product. Our bodies don't need that. It's not an essential nutrient or essential vitamin. So if you want to cut it out completely, there's absolutely no problem with that. But like a lot of things, gluten sensitivity has been popularized to the point where everybody thinks they need to avoid gluten all the time. Well, again, let's go back to that Predimed study, the Mediterranean diet study. They allowed grains. They had some grains and pastas and cereals in that diet, but it was a small percentage. I think where we've gone wrong as a society is those have become the main focus of the meal. And that's probably too much carbs, too much gluten for the average person. So certainly reducing it makes sense so that it can fit into our real foods, vegetable-based, Mediterranean style of eating. You can experiment with yourself. Go gluten-free for 2 weeks, 4 weeks. Give it a try. See how you feel. You're probably going to lose some weight. You're probably going to feel a little bit better because you're eliminating all the simple carbohydrates that you don't need. Now you can go back and add little bits here and there and see if it makes a difference, because you may still crave it. You may still want it. It's not necessary, but in the right proportions, it can still be part of a healthy diet.